Oh, time for another Man in Great book review. Today's book is Appomattox Courthouse, National Historical Park, Virginia, by J. Luvaas and Joseph P. Cullen, published in 1980 by the National Park Service. It's 112 pages, and it's part of their National Park Handbook series. It's number 109. On April 9th, 1865, General Robert E. Lee, commander of the Army of Northern Virginia, formally surrendered his army to Lieutenant General Ulysses S. Grant, commander of all federal forces. The surrender took place in a small village in Virginia known as Appomattox Courthouse. The surrender, essentially, for all purposes, practical purposes, led to the end of the American Civil War. After the surrender and the dispersion of forces, the town of Appomattox Courthouse went back to normal. But a few years later, the courthouse burned down, and then the county court was moved to a nearby town. After that, Appomattox, the courthouse, basically became a ghost town, and all the buildings fell into repair. But in 1935, President Franklin Roosevelt declared Appomattox Courthouse to be a national monument. Later, it was made into a National Historical Park. And in the 1940s, work began on repairing the ruined buildings and reconstructing the ones that had been torn down. Today, there are 13 original buildings at Appomattox Courthouse that have been restored, and there are 9 buildings that were reconstructed using historical documents and photographs. This handbook from the National Park Service tells the story of the final battles of the Civil War, which led up to the surrender, Lee's surrender at Appomattox Courthouse. It tells a little bit about the history of the village there, and then the current state, current as of 1980 when this book was published, the current state of the park and what you can see there. There's also short biographies of all of the soldiers and officers that were involved in the surrender. And there's detailed descriptions of each one of the buildings that you can see at the National Historical Park, and whether they're original or whether they're reconstructions. There's also some very nice colored photographs here. Here is one of the Clover Hill Tavern, this building here. This is where the paroles were printed up. There was a printing press here inside this tavern, which also served as the local post office. And the printing press was used to print out over 2,000 or 20,000 rather parole documents for the Confederate soldiers to go home. There's also photographs of the McLean House, which is where the surrender actually took place. The McLean House was basically torn down. It was supposed to be it was taken apart and was supposed to be moved to Washington, D.C. and put in a museum, but they ran out of funding, and the whole building basically just rotted away. So this is a restoration of the house, but this is what it looked like during the surrender documents, when the surrender documents were signed. So there's some nice photographs. There's also some maps in here that show the route that both the Confederates and the Union soldiers took leading to Appomattox. And then there's a list of some other national historical parks involving the Civil War as well. So if you're interested in the American Civil War, or if you're a fan of American national parks, you'll enjoy this handbook. Some of the information is dated, but it's still very well written, and even though it's rather short, it's very historically accurate. The two authors were major Civil War historians. So it's a book that I think you will enjoy reading if you're interested in either Civil War or national parks. The book is Appomattox Courthouse. The authors are J. Luvaas and Joseph P. Cullen. This has been another Man in Great book review. Thanks for watching.